I'm just about to get started. I'll hold it like this.
All right.
I ain't the greatest film dude, you know what I'm saying? No film dude.
It's a documentary too, so yeah. I like it.
Man, introduce yourself to the camera, man. There's a lot of people on this scene. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna do it like an interview style. Sure. There's a lot of people on this scene who don't know who Black Still is because it's been some time since it's been seen, but you are part of the foundation. So lay it down for them. Explain to them who you are and when you first entered the scene that we call Spoken Word New Orleans.
Well, if we're just speaking primarily on the poetry scene, believe it or not, I actually became the host of Ebony Square by accident, because originally it wasn't necessarily my venue. My friends and I were kind of helping run the spot, but there was another host, a young lady named Angela Davis. Not to be confused with the chick with the pick in her hair, but just as militant if you ask me. Shout out to Angela wherever you are. She was the original host. She had a band behind her called Soul Remedy, and for whatever reason she kind of fell out of it. They needed a last minute fill-in. This was probably we were probably 3 months into it at that point, so we'd maybe done 7 or 8 shows. Our main focus was the after parties on the Saturday that preceded the poetry night on Sunday. So we were throwing parties upstairs and downstairs in Ebony Square. They needed a host real quick. Most of my friends, they didn't really care for the lime. I didn't mind the lime. I got the job by default. And it wasn't even about the money or anything. It was just about having something to do, feeling like we
Oh, I didn't interrupt you. You can smoke in there.
I can? All right. Well, we were just filming so loud. I'm trying to get an interview with them.
We're just feeling like we were doing something positive in the community and giving people a voice. It's something that we kind of jumped into head first, and it ended up being a lot better than we thought it was going to be. So I became the de facto host, and then naturally they made me the host, and it became my night. The rest of my friends kind of pulled back and pulled out of it. I stuck with it. My monologue at the beginning of the show was usually all freestyle. I never sat and wrote down any of my material or anything, other than some of the poems or some of the lyrics that I would do, which for me that was really an outlet more than anything, because at the time I was still focused on music more than anything, and with the kind of music that we were doing, it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do, but I was kind of boxed into people that really wanted to parlay my talent into something, but they wanted the talent without the substance. It's kind of like butchering a cow and feeding people the bones and throwing away the meat.
Wow.
And that didn't really work for me. So Ebony Square for me became an outlet for me to get out some of the stuff that I wasn't able to get out in the music the way I was recording it. And it was a way to kind of recharge my spiritual battery, keep me social, but it also kept me grounded. It was a lot of fun to do in the process. We did it for the better part of maybe 5 or 6 years, a long time.
So when you first came on the poetry scene, who was there? Who were the poets? I mean, this is early on. So
man, we went through. Wow, Sadi was there, Mac, Mackenzie Phipps. If you don't know who Mac is, then you really don't know a whole lot about the hip hop scene, in all honesty. But Mackenzie Phipps, aka Mac, he used to be one of the guys that would frequent the spot. A good friend of mine named Dean, we used to call him Dean Laden. Sean Talbot was there. Oh, there's so many names I know I'm forgetting. Oh man, there's too many names I know I'm forgetting. Peter Muhammad was there. There's a lot of cats. Lionel King was there.
Wow.
He's definitely alumnus of the spot. There's too many. Asali was there. Asali Devon was there. It was a lot of different people there. It's too many names to sit here and recall. Brother Wood was there. Hollywood, he was there. I can go on and on. There's a lot of us.
So, as one of the original hosts, how would you define your hosting style? Like I said, we got a segment dedicated to Charlie V. But I remember you, and I was like, truth be told, Ebony Square was my home. You know what I'm saying? So when everybody was going to Pizzazz and stuff, I was kind of reluctant to go at first.
Yeah.
I felt like I was cheating. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
But with that being said, you were really the original host of these poetry joints. So how would you define your hosting style? What were you trying to bring to the people?
relatability more than anything. Just wanted to a little bit of comedy, trying to keep things lighthearted, even in some of the more serious and kind of somber moments that we had in some of the nights there. Because a lot of the poets that were there, whatever they spoke on, it was from the core. It was from the core of their being. And they wanted you to feel them, whether it was love, whether it was happiness, whether it was pain, the struggle, the triumph, anything. My idea of the way I had to host, my whole ideology around it was, well, I have to try to, I don't know, I guess, make people feel the poets that were up there a little bit more, make them a little bit more relatable. So I would tie in anecdotes, maybe from my personal life, but more than anything, just to keep a kind of lighthearted mood, try to keep everybody upbeat, keep everybody interested, because again, poetry nights can be so deeply emotional. People can get so caught up in the moment of what's going on that they forget that there is entertainment value, and you want to leave there feeling refreshed, feeling good, feeling like you did something fun. So it's kind of what I tried to bring to it, and it kind of took the edge off for me too, because I never came prepared. Like I said, I never wrote out a monologue or anything. So however I open the show it could be something that I watched that night, in a magazine article that I read that I can kind of expound on and talk to people about a little bit, but for the most part it was just fun is what I wanted to bring to it.
All right. In this community, like, activism and consciousness has always been like a thread throughout. Was that something you guys did on purpose as like some of the architects of this thing, or was it just happened like that?
I don't know if it was more on purpose than it was purposeful, and to a greater extent innate, because where there's struggle, there's gonna be revolt, because people don't like struggle. People don't like to go through. It's only so much you can beat your head against the wall until your goal in beating your head against the wall is trying to knock that wall down, and that's the bottom line. So again, it was something that was probably ingrained in all of us who had a voice to speak out. We were fortunate as poets and as pioneers for the spoken word community in New Orleans to be able to kind of convey maybe some of the more complex emotions that some people just don't have the vocab for. And there's some people that do have the vocab for it, but they just can't seem to find the words to really paint the picture based on how they're feeling it. That's something that we were all good at. And I mean, what can I say? If you want to say purpose, then yeah, but I think it was for a purpose more than it was on purpose. And rather than to say on purpose, you would say it's something that was ingrained in us. It's what we're supposed to do. And sometimes that's a calling that's bigger than you.
All right, so I'm gonna throw a name out there, a couple of names. I want you to tell me what you think. Sonny Patterson.
Oh wow, man. That's all I got to say. See, you getting ready to wax nostalgia on me. I haven't seen Sonny or heard Sonny in years.
In terms of her impact on the game and or the scene, and just as a poetess, what do you were probably there from the beginning when she was just starting out.
If the point at which I had met Sonny was just starting out, that's a hell of a starting spot. A hell of a starting spot. That's one of the things that was real good about Ebony Square, besides some of the little shady backdoor deal, and shout out to Kurt Pellerin, but we still good people though. It's still love because it's all black business, and we got to support that, but you call a spade at the same time. The thing that we were able to do, regardless of whether it was turning a buck to generate business, we had a consistent stable of just excellent writers, excellent poets that crossed different genres. A lot of them could sing, some of them rapped. I mean, we covered it. We brought a lot of flavor to that place.
Peter Muhammad.
Man, I just moved back to New Orleans right at the beginning of 2012, and I was walking through I was walking through the grocery store and I saw him. I still got his number in my phone, and I still need to give him a call because we still need to link up. Peter Muhammad was the first true freestyle poet I ever met, and it was, you know, you could take one message and just delve into the intricacies of it to make it sound like it's a different. He delivers the same message in a different way every time, and he always bangs it home perfectly. The dude is just a genius as far as I'm concerned. Amazing. You want to see somebody, you want to see a good, maybe not rags to riches story, but a tragedy triumph story, then he's one of them. He's definitely one of them.
Asali Devine.
Asali Devine was... I used to have a crush on Asali way back in, but I never let on that because, well, for one, I was dating somebody at the time, but two, the respect was so much that I wouldn't want to diminish that respect by letting on to any kind of other feelings beyond it. But I think the crush was really born from the immense respect that I had for her mind and the way she was able to deliver her message too. I mean, she's one of a kind. One of a kind. And she is African culture in the deep south personified.
Word, that's dope. All right, so you consider yourself more, I guess you consider yourself a hip-hop artist as opposed to a poet, right? Tell us about the hip-hop career.
I mean, deep down I'm a poet at heart, no matter what. I mean, it's what poetry is, right? It's what we do. Well, I don't know how much I want to let on yet, but I'm back home, so I'm back at it. I'm working hard. I have a joint project with my youngest brother. You know, the whole idea is to kind of infuse some young blood in the game, but that probably has the same kind of soul as I do. And I don't think there's a better person to be able to share that moment with than my brother. My brother is Toots Marley, by the way, and the movement is called Jungle Versailles, Versailles. We are the kings of the streets, but not the way you might think. Kings are supposed to be the leaders of the movement. A leader is not a boss, it's not the same thing. A boss tells you what to do, a leader shows you how to do it. We're kings and leaders from that respect. And we have to touch these streets because these children nowadays need to be saved. And I think the music that we're making will reflect that. It's one thing to hear the music coming from a 30-something. I mean, I'm in my 30s now, but it's another thing for it to come from a 20-something who's closer in your age range, who you can probably relate to a little bit better, but the message is there. It's hip-hop, but it's some activist hip-hop.
Dig that, man. Anything else you want to shout out to the people? Want to say?
I don't know. Well, I'll say this. For all of the years that I was able to do it, and for the impact that I think I was able to make in doing what I've done in the community, even on kind of a little scale, a minute scale at first, I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm proud. I'm on Twitter. Still S.T.E.L. You can find Toots Marley on Twitter. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Instagram, Mr. Reagan Paul. Let's build. This is not just because I'm trying to get a name out there or anything like that, but let's build. Let's build, especially with the elders that's still out there, the ones that I came up with, the architects of this thing. Let's build. It's time to take the streets back. It's time to take our city back. Let's do it.
Dig that, man.